some point in all of our lives, we will have to choose what and who is most important to us. Is it Jesus or is it Pop? Is it Jesus or is it Mom and Dad? Is it Jesus or is it your bestie? At some point, we all are going to have to make that decision. So Luke, what he does here is he doubles up on the point that he's trying to make it, and he tells another story of a guy who's in a similar situation because he knows that there are people like us who are going to read this that have all kinds of excuses. And I think most of you have been around me long enough to know how I feel about excuses. But in case you forgot, let me remind you that excuses are crutches for the uncommitted. I'll say it again for those who fell asleep. I know we started 15 minutes earlier today. Excuses are crutches for the uncommitted. And it's an unfortunate thing because some of us have become masters of making excuses. That's unfortunate because people who master excuses also become masters of nothingness. Think about it. The people who make the most excuses are least productive on the job. The people who make the most excuses are least likely to stay married all the time. The people who make the most excuses are often the people who have the most unruly children. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about your neighbors. So people who master excuses also become masters of nothingness. And finally, we know that our mind has this great and powerful way of justifying what our hearts have already decided. We can come up with any excuse as to why we don't want to do something when our heart has already decided that we don't want to do it. It sounds like this. I was going to do it, but I was going to be there, but I was going to help, but I could have been a doctor, but I could have been a lawyer or a teacher, but here's one that you guys have probably heard. I could have been a pro. But anyone ever heard anything like that? Yeah. Right. So Luke, what he does is he writes another story to help us get our butts out of the way. And here's what it says in verse 61. Still, another said, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go back and say goodbye to my family. And Jesus replied, Jesus says some harsh things. And I think maybe I would be a better preacher if I wasn't afraid to say harsh things. But here's what Jesus says. No one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God. Come on, man. Like, are you serious right now? You can't give me just a few days to hang out with the old crew before I fall into completely. I mean, I've come this far, Jesus. I've changed my life a little bit, right? Can I just go back just for a minute and hang out with the boys? Just one more night at the club. Just one more night at the bar. Can I just get one more smoke, please? One more smoke. Can I just get one more drink, one more party in? I promise, all I need is one more night with her. And I'll follow you fully, completely, all the way. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is where our priorities get exposed. Because let's just be honest, some of us like what we're doing too much to follow Jesus. Some of us like what we used to do too much to let it go and take hold of Jesus. Some of us are just too busy right now to follow Jesus. And we hope that he'll wait for us. And we hope that he'll just kind of sit and chill and give us time to catch up. But do we really want to take the chance that Jesus is going to just sit and wait while we do whatever we want to do until we're ready to serve him fully and completely, to follow him? And I get it. God should be more flexible, right? He knows our habits, right? He knows it's hard to break, right? He knows that we have some traditions that we like, some stuff that we really are into. He knows He knows. I got a big family. I say all the time, my family can make a small city, right? So he should be a little bit more flexible. I mean, you're only in your 20s, right? So you got time to follow Jesus. Mid-30s, right? I mean, most of us ain't gonna die until 72. I got 40 more years, Jesus. Mid-40s, all right? I still got time to follow Jesus later if he'll just let me do what I want to do right now, because what I want to do is what I want to do, and what I want to do is not listen to you. Be the parents. All right. So now it's just really not a convenient time in my life to follow Jesus. You know, the way my schedule is set up and everything. And here's the point that I'm trying to make today is that to be Christian is easy. It's convenient to be Christian. It's not costly, it's not embarrassing, and it's even culturally acceptable in many cases to say that you're a Christian. And I know people who don't pray, but say they're Christian. I know people who don't read their Bibles and claim to be Christian. I know people who rarely, if ever, go to church who claim to be Christian. And you know people like that too. And that kind of Christianity, to me, I don't know, it's like unseasoned chicken. You know, that type of Christianity is like eggs with no salt and pepper or cheese.
That's not right.
Right, it's not right. That type of Christianity is like going to Six Flags or Eulogies, or is that how you say it? Like going there and getting on the lazy river and expecting an adrenaline rush. But following Jesus, well, that's more like whitewater rafting on a level 5. Following Jesus is more like bacon, eggs, and cheese all mixed up in grits. Hot sauce. And a biscuit on the side. That's what following Jesus is. It's like following Jesus is exciting. And you know why it's exciting? Because when you follow Jesus, you never know what's going to happen next. You don't know where he's going to take you. I was telling my wife a few days ago that following Jesus, sometimes he was in Galilee, and then he'd be like, let's go, and he'd go over to the Jordan, and then he'd say, let's go, and he'd go up to Bethlehem, and then he'd say, let's go, and he'd go to Samaria. You never knew what was going to happen next with following Jesus. If you're bored with God, it's because you're not following Jesus close enough to see the action. How could the disciples be bored with a God who was radical enough to come down in earthly form to hang out with his own creation? I'm talking about the same God who turned water into wine. I'm talking about the God who healed the sick and who could break addictions with one single word. I'm talking about the God who could calm a raging sea with a single rebuke. How can you be bored with a God who raised the dead and even got personal enough to call you by name, even when you wouldn't acknowledge his love for you? Of all the people who could be here today, God put it on your heart. See, you didn't make that decision. I know you did. You thought that you made the decision to come today. But God put it on your heart to be here today. All the people on earth, of all the people who God could have saved, God saved you. How many people on earth? What, 7 billion right now? And God saved you? He protected you from, as they used to say in the old church, danger seen and unseen. How many stray bullets missed you? How many car accidents did God allow to pass you by? Bored with God? Who do we think we are? Maybe we think we're followers when we're really just Christians. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we think that God calling us was a privilege for him and not us. Well, let me tell you something. God is calling you today to follow. Maybe God is calling you specifically to not just be Christian. Maybe this sermon is just for you. I believe Jesus is calling you today. And the question is, will you accept his call? Or is being Christian enough? I'm almost finished, Josh. So over the next few weeks, I want to walk you through those of you who are not content with just being Christian. I want to walk with you through this journey. I want to give you a few things to consider as you approach this stage of your life called Supermodel. And for those of you who are just okay with being Christian, if that's fine with you, I'm going to ask you to keep coming back, because who knows, maybe I might say something and maybe we might read something over the next few weeks that's going to convince you to say that being Christian is just too mediocre for you, that you would rather have the whitewater rafting than the Navy river. Maybe something I say will inspire you to want more than just the basics. And finally, I want to encourage you to bring somebody to the gathering of champions who may have misunderstood Christianity for Jesus followers. You know, they saw some folks who were Christians, but they didn't know they were following Jesus, so they judged followers based off of what a Christian did. And so they have this misunderstanding of Jesus. Something tells me that if they know what this thing called Christianity is really supposed to look like, something tells me they will be more interested in the guy who started the whole thing. After all, the reason why we exist, the entire reason for our existence, is to point others to an invisible Christ. Invisible to us. And that means that we have to be present. That means that we have to represent. That means that we have to be not just good role models, we got to be supermodels. Because we have this supernatural treasure that is in us that gives us the power to be super models of Jesus Christ. Next week we'll talk about it. Next week we'll learn what that looks like.